Hello, hello everyone. Welcome to So
Oh my God.
Speak. So happy to be here.
Yeah.
Today we're going to be talking about manifestation. Me and Grace, as usual. We're trying out the word unfiltered. That is like we're trying it out to see if it really pertains to us. So Speak Unfiltered.
Yes.
Let's see.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So today, let me welcome Grace. Rachel and Grace is here. Hi, Grace. Let me get some order up in this.
Hi, Rachel.
Hi.
How are you?
I am trying not to throw another tantrum. As I spoke about earlier, today I'm convalescing from a sinus infection. You may hear that in my voice. So I'm not in the greatest of moods, but always happy to be here. So before we get into things, Grace, can you let us know what your handles are so we can move?
Yes, not my love handles, but my social media handles.
I can't. Let me put the mic away from my mouth. That laugh was way too loud. Go ahead. Oh, God.
So you can find me on Instagram. My handle is at the _reading_hideout. So yeah, my books are there. I write kidlit, so children's books, picture books, and you can be able to keep updated with everything that's going on with me and my writing on Instagram. And you can also find me on Twitter, and my Twitter handle is at Grace_Kugrena. And you can be able to find me there with just random tweets. Okay. That's it.
Okay, wonderful, Grace. Give her a follow. That's where we met each other on Instagram. Anywho, my handle is The Sassy Rachel on Instagram. That is my only platform that you'll find me on right now. I like to keep it simple. I don't even use Facebook anymore, really. And I
don't think anyone does.
Right. I mean, I write, right now I'm writing a memoir. And I'm also working on a project for young adults who have experienced trauma as children. And lastly, I will mention our Soul Speak Instagram, which is SoulSpeak_podcast. It is rather fresh and new. We are building up followers, which I'm proud of. For every single follower we have, like, yay, we got one more. Yay, one more. So, yes. So that is us.
Yeah, you can keep up to date with us. So we basically we release clips of every episode that we have, just to give you a taste of what it is that we're talking about, and to also keep you updated. So check that out.
Yes, thank you, Grace. With your dope edits that you be dropping dope edits.
Please, don't embarrass me, please.
So today, as we said, guys, we're going to be talking about manifesting. And the conversation is just going to go in the direction that our conversations go in. Yeah. But Grace and I were talking about manifestation and how, as we see it online, it gets on our last ass nerves. Where manifestation seems like an effort to put pressure on oneself to make things happen. And the more I see those types of posts, specifically on Instagram, because that's where I be on, I see videos and posts.
YouTube as well.
YouTube, okay.
YouTube as well,
yeah. Where manifestation is concerned, it's like, you got to make things happen. You got to do these things in your life. And if you are not, if things are not coming into fruition for you, that means you are doing something wrong. Do you want to add to that, Grace?
Yeah, I want to make the distinction that we are not saying hard work doesn't create fruits to your labor. I want to make the distinction there. I don't think manifestation is just about, putting in the effort and working, because you can do that. Discipline, hard work, it pays off. I really do believe that. What I really want to talk about is that manifestation that people are talking about online of the mind. If you have those positive thoughts, and if you just believe, and if you just put it out there into the universe, it will come back to you. Nah, bro, stop it. That's childish. Do you know what I mean? That's what I really like. My disdain for that is on a different level, because you have all of these like life gurus and people who talk like in vague terms and crazy ideologies. Like, nothing is practical, by the way, right? Everything seems to be ethereal. Like, everything seems to be all up in the sky, and and if you just believe, and if you just think, and if you just follow your dreams, and if you, bruh, stop it. That's the kind of thing that I'm talking about in terms of manifestation. Again, hard work, it doesn't mean like you're not going to bring to fruition things that you're working hard for. No, that's not what I'm talking about. But to pair that with that mindset and ideology of everything's going to work out if you just do this. Sometimes you work hard and nothing works out. What then? Sometimes, circumstances happen, life happens, people happens, like, you can't control your life. And I think that there's all of these self-help books. I remember my husband used to be into all of that stuff, and there was this quote where I can't remember the quote, and I'm probably misquoting, so whoever knows this quote, they could be able to correct me or whatever. But being the captain or the ship of your soul, the master of your fate, and the captain of your soul, something like that. Is it Napoleon Hill or something like that? I don't know, but it comes from one of these self-help books, and it's like basically saying you navigate your life however you want, and you are the captain of everything that happens, which doesn't take into consideration certain circumstances that are out of your control, right?
I have the quote, or things if you want it.
There you go, please, Rachel.
It matters not how straight the gate, how charged my punishments, the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
There you go. No, you are not the master of your fate. I don't believe that. And I don't believe that you're the captain of your soul. I really don't. But I digress. There you go.
Yeah.
And I remember my husband used to hold on to that quote for dear life for like 5 years or whatever, right? Sorry, guys, I'm literally just like rambling right here. But the reason why I'm talking about this and bringing it full circle is to just show you how impractical a lot of these things are. Because the more he held on to this, and the more he pushed and the more he worked, the less happened. Like, nothing was going on for him. And the more he felt like things weren't happening for him, the more anxious and fearful and doubtful like he got, and whatever it is that it was supposed to do, it did the opposite. And I'm going to stop there. That's what I mean, a mindset.
I understand. I'm trying to decipher, and thank you for that, thought process, going through that with us. I'm trying to think of what the angst is for me. I think it's the pressure that I feel when literally I'm being told, hey, all you have to do is take the reins and everything will work out as you would like. And if things are not working out for you, it has to do with your thought process. So I think for me, I feel like something is wrong with me. It makes me feel like something is wrong with me because things like I'm not manifesting, or the things I would like to happen. Exactly. So for me, it's the pressure. I might be saying the same thing because sometimes I have problems with
You are definitely saying the same thing.
Okay.
I totally agree with you.
Okay.
But that's what I'm trying to say is like, I'm calling it a thought process, right? Of the idea of this is how you need to be. And you're speaking in terms of its effect in this moment in time, how it makes you feel when that ideology, it doesn't come to pass the way that you anticipated.
Right.
right? So it's
Right.
basically two sides of the same coin. So I totally agree with you there. Yeah, it
Right.
does make you feel like trash.
So, what then I feel like is a natural thing to discuss is what actually is manifestation to me or to us as we see it. Um,
Mm,
and yes, I do believe how I feel is really important. I am a
mm-hmm,
vibes person. I wouldn't per se emotions overtake everything, but
mm-hmm,
how I feel is going to predict how long I stick with something. If
mm-hmm,
I want to move forward with a process. So
mm-hmm.
for me, it's important that I not feel pressure. When I feel pressure, I feel like I just want to stop. Like there,
Mm-hmm.
there was a time in my life when I felt pressured, and this would come from my parents. It would make me
Yeah,
act. It's like, okay, I got to hurry up.
yeah,
I got to hurry up and do this. I got to do this. Now,
yeah,
my system is in complete rebellion of that.
yeah,
So, whenever I feel way too much pressure, it makes me run in the opposite direction.
yeah.
So, for me, the first steps in, I would say, a dream, having a dream happen, or wanting a dream to happen, or
Mm-hmm.
wanting something, for me is prayer. That
I
is the
totally
first
agree.
thing for me
Absolutely.
because it relieves the pressure. I don't do well with ridiculous amounts of pressure because I don't know what the hell I'm doing anyway. Do you have anything to add
Mm-hmm,
to that, Grace? Like,
mm-hmm,
I just can't take the pressure, and yeah, let me just pray and give this up to
um
God.
I think for me, I work well under pressure, but I don't connect that pressure with manifestation. Do you know what I mean? I don't feel as if like, oh, um, you know what, me, look, I'm an achievement kind of orientated person, right?
Hmm.
And I like to work hard. I like to, but not to the point of thinking that everything that I want has to come to pass. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
No,
Does that make sense?
no, because to me, I
You
feel
can
like
work
you
hard.
you like to
You,
make
you
everything
can
come to
work
pass.
hard. No, no, no. I mean, I like to work hard. I
Hmm.
would like for things to come to pass the way that I want. But if they don't, it's not something that consumes me. Does that make sense?
Okay,
Does that make sense?
it
It doesn't
makes
consume me in this
okay. Go ahead.
because what we're talking about now is manifestation. Oh yeah, if you do this, this is what's going to happen. But if it doesn't happen, you're not doing it well, right? That's what
Right.
we basically said at the beginning of the podcast. You're not doing it well, you're not doing it hard enough or whatever, right? But for me, it's like, okay, it didn't work out, but I know that I did my best in that situation. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Right? So that my drive comes from knowing that I did my best and I gave my all. If I failed at something, but I didn't do the best that I could, that's what I'll be annoyed about because I had the opportunity to do as best as I could, but I didn't take it, or I winged something, or I just haphazardly did something. And then, that's what annoys me the most. If you don't achieve something, even though you put in hard work, for me, that's not an issue. That's life. Not everything is going to come to pass the way that you wanted, but it feels good to know that you've done the best that you could. For me, it feels good to know that you know what, 110%. I've pushed. I've done it. That's it. Move on. So in that sense, working under pressure for me, it's fine. But what Rachel is saying about prayer, that's what I like to marry. Right. Put 110%, but know that it's the will of God because you've already prayed about it. You've already handed it off to God, right? This is what I want to work on. I don't know if it's the right thing to me. Lord, I'm giving it all up to you. Help me, direct me in my footsteps, yada, 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 and go off and put in the practicalities that's supposed to help you achieve what it is that you want to achieve. Um, so I do agree with you there. But again, it's that need for this has to happen. That's my issue. And that's what we're both talking about.
Yeah,
It
because I
has to
think that's the
happen.
That's the pressure about
Exactly.
manifestation that I'm talking about.
Exactly.
It's not achieving and doing your best. It's your
Exactly.
eye is on this particular goal to happen. And if you don't
Exactly.
make this thing happen, you have failed.
Yep. Or you continue beating a dead horse where you can't let it go. You can't let
Right,
it lie. You
right,
consistently are pushing
right.
to obtain this one thing that
Yes.
you feel you deserve. And that's what I want to talk
It
about, that
becomes an
deserving, that
obsession.
self, exactly, right? That selfish ambition of this is supposed to be mine. I earned this or I deserve this. Like, bro,
You
no,
still
you
didn't see
don't.
Soul. You still didn't see Soul.
No, I haven't.
This
It was. Is there
reminds
talk
me
about that?
this this concept is portrayed, is discussed, is on display in Soul. Yes.
Yeah.
I won't go
Yeah.
further, but yeah.
Spoiler alert. But yeah, so that's the biggest problem that I had right there. It's that it has to happen. The need for that happening as opposed to just working hard, trying the best, doing everything you can in your power to be practical, organize, whatever it is that you want to do, but not having to feel like you're tied to this thing that has to happen for you.
So as we're hashing out what our angst is with this
Yeah.
manifestation, what I am
Yeah.
also identifying from what you're saying is not
Yeah.
only is there an obsession tied to what you're trying to make happen,
Mm-hmm.
there's also the
Mm-hmm.
obsession in what the journey is supposed to look like. And that is,
Absolutely.
yeah,
That is what I
yeah.
find very what do you call that word, when it's very entitled. Do you know what I mean? I made a
Ah,
plan that the
yeah,
world has to kind of bow to, right?
yeah,
It needs
yeah.
to happen the way that I see it, how I see it, and things need to happen the way that I want. And if it doesn't, then something is wrong with everything else as opposed to me,
Yes.
right?
And
And I need to make this happen.
meanwhile, what you want to happen
Yeah.
is going to happen. It just ain't looking like how you expect for it. It's one of those things where um I don't know what you call this, a riddle, a parable, a story, whatever. But that
An
man,
allegory?
the allegory, I haven't used that word in a
Yeah.
thousand years, even though I haven't been alive a thousand years. Anyway, that
Why she
story
makes me feel so
of
old.
the man
A
that's
thousand years.
in the boat or he's like sinking and he's like, God help me. God comes and sends the
Yes.
helicopter. God comes and
Yeah, he
sends the, but
sends
it's
the,
like you're
yeah,
waiting for it to look an
for,
exact way.
yeah,
So
he
yeah,
was waiting for God to come down from heaven, pick pick him up from that boat with his own hands and then
yo,
save him and
which
take him
would
somewhere,
kill
right?
me. That sight itself would kill me. I don't want to
Kill
see
everybody.
that.
Kill everyone.
No
What are you
big
talking
hand
about?
coming to reach for me. I am done and complete in this life. So
But this is what I'm saying. We will all faint from fear. Like, what the hell? I'll pass
I would
out.
implode. Nah, son.
But
I would die on the spot. Yeah.
But you were right, because essentially that's what he wanted. And then God's like, what? Oh, I sent you the helicopter, I sent you this, I sent you this guy, I sent you. And you said, no, son. That's what you would have said. Nah, son.
That's how my God sounds.
What
Nah,
then?
son.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My God sounds like, nah, you didn't take
Bruh.
it. So what then? Bruh,
Bruh.
exactly. Bruh, you did not.
Yeah. So
But
that's a
you see what I
really good
mean?
point. Yeah, that's a really good point. So yes, the pressure to or the entitlement, I like how you say that. The entitlement for
Mm.
this particular whatever you're wanting to happen for it to look how you want it to. And by this point in my life, I understand that
Mm-hmm.
that is a damn lie. I used to want things or expect things to happen the way in
Mm-hmm.
which I thought they should. And
Mm-hmm.
that is why I missed a lot of the opportunities that were
Mm-hmm.
available to me because I wasn't looking at them
Mm-hmm.
like opportunities.
Yeah.
So,
Um, I would also like to say, can we also talk about like, yeah, we have certain ideas of how we want the process to be, but we also need to recognize that our plans, some of them are not for us. That's it.
Preach on
Some
it.
of it is just not going to happen, is not for
Preach on
you.
it.
And if you were in tuned with yourself or in tune with what God wanted for you or whatever, you'll be able to step back and say, right, this isn't working and it has to be for a reason.
Right.
Maybe it's just the wrong thing, period.
Right.
And I'm missing something that is for me because I'm not focusing on that. I'm just focusing on this one thing and this one idea, this one desire or hope or dream that I've had from, day one or whatever. But not really understanding that and letting go and saying to yourself, you know what, I would rather want and chase after something that is mine, as opposed to trying to take things for ourselves that isn't for us.
I 100% agree with you, Grace. How I would term that for me is making sure that God's will is a part of this plan, God's will.
Click, click, click,
And
click.
man, I didn't know nothing about no God's will when I was younger. It was about me
It was Rachel's
wanting,
will.
it was Rachel's will. And
Yeah.
things continuously broke down for me. And I do
Yeah.
think this is a big part of the manifestation that I've been seeing. So thank you for unpacking this with me. But yes, manifestation, as I've seen it, the ones I have angst with, they do not take into account God's will at all. It's again wanting something to happen, and where if it's good for you, it's like wanting having a crush on a guy and wanting that guy, and you don't get with that guy, and then later on you hear something about he hit his girlfriend or it's like, well, thank God I didn't get with that person. So yes, manifestation, like be tied to like what you want is a different thing. I guess that's the goal, the idea,
Yeah.
the dream.
Yeah.
That's different than yes, how you get there. And that maybe that thing is not for you. Maybe it's a derivative of that will work. So say you have a dream speaking in front of people, and then you become like, say, a minister. It was like, oh, that's not how
Yeah.
I
That's still speaking in
saw
front of
it.
people.
Right.
Yo.
It's a
Oh my
version
gosh. Yeah.
of what you thought. So leave the flexibility in there, and that allows
That's
you to have an
perfect.
actual journey. Yeah.
That is so perfect.
Yeah.
I needed to hear that for myself. That was
Aw,
brilliant.
yeah.
Because we can be so rigid,
Yes.
and that's only with the things that we're obsessed with, the things that we truly desire. Like those are the things I find that were the most rigid, because
Yeah.
it's either our way or the highway, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So to be able to see it in a different light, where it's like, okay, you can still have what you're looking for, but just in a different way.
Yeah.
Maybe that's really helpful for a lot of people. I know that's definitely helpful for me,
Yeah.
because we don't usually think like that.
Yeah. It's so true.
It's
Society
like, give
doesn't
me
teach
what
that.
I want.
Right.
No, because you're supposed to be a go-getter. You're supposed to be a dream chaser, and there's only one dream, right? So
Right.
this is what we're talking about with all of these like gurus, right? Self-help books or whatever, which is like, the highest selling like genre in terms of like, publishing. Do you know that most people
I'm mad.
go and buy self-help books, and
Mm.
they have the largest section? Have you ever been to like go to a bookstore? You'll see the biggest section would be self-help.
I
Do you know
believe it
that?
because I used to read a lot of self-help books when I was
Yeah.
younger. Like I'm a voracious reader, and I would be reading like
Yeah.
self-help books. Maybe I was like 14 years old, and that pressure, I always felt it because manifestation and self-help stuff that do not include spirituality, is such a pressure to perform on yourself and put me in a category like I felt like I was already failing. I'm 14 years old and I'm failing life. That's how it
I'm
made me feel.
telling
So
you,
I believe it. Yeah.
you've said everything that my husband said to me. He was like,
Mm,
this is supposed to make me better, but it's making me worse.
right.
How?
Right.
Right? And then you start chasing, you're just chasing air,
Yeah.
essentially,
Yeah.
because you're just running and running and running. And this is what's so really crazy about it is you're supposed to run your own race, right? Your
Right.
life and someone else's life
Is
are not the
not the
same thing.
same.
Where
Correct.
you are going and what you need to do is completely different to the
Right.
next person, right?
Right.
It doesn't make them better than you and it doesn't make you better than them. It's
Correct.
just a completely different road.
Right.
But with self help and manifestation, automatically you are in competition with every single person,
It's a one
right?
size fit all. Like, if it ain't happening,
Exactly.
you ain't doing it right.
You're
Yeah.
not doing it right. And if someone else seems to be moving forward with their life, automatically it's how is
They're
it that they
better
did
than
that and I'm
you.
not
It's
there?
comparison.
They're better than you,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yep.
comparison. You start to have that fear, that
Yeah.
feeling of I've seen what I've seen, envy,
Right.
comparison, jealousy, resentment,
Right.
bitterness, because I should have been there. I should
Right.
have been ahead. How is
Right.
it that they're doing this and I'm not getting there? Or how is it that I seem to not have the right components to make these things happen for me, but everyone else
Right.
seems to be doing it? And the crazy thing is that next person is thinking the same thing about another person. So
Mm,
it's just a vicious cycle of everybody's falling behind, everybody's
right.
failing in whatever it is that they're doing. And this is the key point that I want to talk about is the lack of gratitude. I've
Mm,
never seen anyone talking about manifestation being grateful for what they have in that moment. What is it that they have already obtained because they're always looking for more,
well, not the
right?
manifestation that we've talked about, but I have
Yeah,
heard
yeah.
gratitude, but not the ones that we're talking
Mhm.
about. Yeah.
No, it's not. I think it's quite surface level,
Yeah.
in my opinion, because it's to give to get. If you're grateful, you're going to attract this,
Hmm.
as opposed to just being grateful for the sake of gratitude's sake,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So that's what I find very, very interesting about that. Um, Creating this false race with other people
Mm,
that isn't true. And so many people are trapped in that and trapped in their
mm,
minds like, hey, I need to win this so-called race. I need to win this so-called thing where I'm achieving and excelling and manifesting all of these things into existence in order
right.
for me to feel accomplished and to feel validated.
Right.
Yeah.
Selah. Okay. So I think because I have some notes here just of what manifestation, like what it makes me think of. Um,
Hmm.
I think we talked about having a measure of faith or belief. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, we talked about that part of it. I started with
Yeah.
prayer. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so letting go of control. To me,
Yeah.
that's the biggest.
Yeah.
That is the biggest way to have your dream come true, which sounds
Yeah.
paradoxical, is
Yeah.
to let go of control of how you are supposed to get said dream and
Hmm.
follow the steps that lead you, just little inklings, inclinations, guidances that you feel in your life. For me, I guess I feel curious or I wonder. Yeah, there's a curiosity for me that leads to my getting things that I want. So yeah, I guess I want to give a little story to put
Mm.
this to ground this a little more
Hmm.
of how I saw manifestation or how it works in my life.
Hmm.
So, and I'll start off small scale, then a little bigger scale. I remember
Yeah.
when I was ooh, like 28 years old, I
Mm-hmm.
was in a position, I was a receptionist for 4 years, and I was afraid
Mm-hmm.
of
Mm-hmm.
moving on to another position. I have, like, fear has been one of the biggest debilitators in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So I was 28 at a dead end. I will call this dead end because I was a receptionist for 4 years. And
Mm-hmm.
I got this coworker who was in my position, like halfway in my
Mm-hmm.
position, and we worked
Mm-hmm.
together. And I will call, she was a devil. That's what I call her. Yo, son. And for me, I'm like, God knows how to move me from someplace, because
Yeah.
put in an asshole, I would say, like, I can't be around one. Actually, I can only
Yeah.
be around one because we all have one, but I can't,
Yeah.
like, deal with a, like, negative person in my presence constantly. So
Yeah.
I was like, I got to find a new job.
Yeah. Yeah.
So after having wanting to find a new job for years, this really motivated me. And what happened was, I didn't know how to go about it, but I used the
Mm-hmm.
resources around me. So that's a thing. I knew that the people at my job, like, they liked me. I had a good reputation. How do I work off of that? And I started having conversations with people, and
Mm-hmm.
some of them were directly about wanting a new position. Some of them were like interests in me having a new position, like things like that. And
Mm-hmm.
then I started working. As I spoke from one person to another, I was led to
Mm-hmm.
say another person that could help me. So I was
Mm-hmm.
told about managers and that type of stuff. Then I started working on my resume. um, Long story short, in 6 months, I was able to get another job. And when I
Mm-hmm.
started looking for this job, there was actually no position left. There was no position
Mm-hmm.
open for
Mm-hmm.
me. But
Mm-hmm.
taking the little steps that
Mm-hmm.
I was led to um, allowed me to actually get to where I wanted. It didn't look anything. Actually, I didn't have any expectations of what this process would be. My only drive was to get the hell away from my coworker.
But it worked.
It worked, but, like, it took it,
Mm-hmm.
and it took work. I had to move
Mm-hmm.
forward. It was nerve wracking. I had
Mm-hmm.
interviews with managers where I
Mm-hmm.
felt like I did not have the qualifications. But I
Yeah.
moved forward. I got prepping. I also
Mm-hmm.
prepared, and I
Mm-hmm.
did the damn thing. So to me, that's
Mm-hmm.
what manifestation essentially is. You want a goal. You don't know how you're gonna get
Mm-hmm.
there. You ask for it, and
Mm-hmm.
then you wait to see how
Mm-hmm.
you are worked on, or how God's gonna work on you to get to that
Yeah.
goal that you want.
Yeah.
So that was small scale for me. But that's when I started to
Yeah.
recognize, oh, I have power to this. Like, I have power.
Mm-hmm.
Not
Mm-hmm.
just me, but I have a
Mm-hmm.
role that I do play,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not the
Mm-hmm.
only role that is here.
Yeah.
Which is what control. Control is the opposite. And I think that's what manifestation has. Look, the type of manifestation we're
Yeah.
talking about is control.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that's so true because there's nothing I've ever wanted, like serious big stuff that I've ever wanted, I got. And the things that I didn't want or didn't think that I needed or wanted, I would get out of the blue. And
Mm.
then realize, actually, this is way better than what I initially wanted. Does that make sense?
Mm. That does make sense, but I've
Yeah.
gotten big things that I wanted.
It's strange. It's a strange thing.
Uh,
It's not just that. It's like, for me, my life is completely different. My
uh,
life is, um, if I don't initiate something,
mm,
usually like I can't sit. And I think I've become accustomed to that. I have to initiate, right? I think
mm,
there's a lot of people, like my husband, he's naturally an initiator, but a
mm,
lot of the times things don't work out when he forces and pushes through. He sits
I think
back
there's a difference between
and
initiating and forcing.
no, no, no. I think for him, that's his characteristics. He's naturally an initiator. But when it comes to his goals and plans, for some reason, when he initiates those, it's like it doesn't seem to have the same thing. It doesn't have like the same effects. It's usually when he's got a goal in mind, he sits back and he waits for the right opportunity. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't start things off on his own. He allows certain opportunities to present themselves and then he goes for it, as opposed to just starting something randomly out of the
Got
blue
it.
on his
Okay.
own,
Okay.
right? That's what I mean by that.
Okay.
Whereas
Got
with
it.
me, waiting for an opportunity to come, a lot of the times that's never been the case. I would have to create the opportunity myself. And as soon as I do that, you will see I will meet the right types of people. Like doors
Hmm.
will open where it's like, which is I find completely strange because I would rather be like him, sit back, wait for things to come, and then for me to jump in. But usually that's never happened. And I'll give you an example.
Mm-hmm.
I remember uh, I came back from Latvia in Europe for Christmas, and I wanted, I wanted to be able to find a way to put my books in a public a setting, like in stores or libraries and all of that stuff, for people to be able to find my stuff, to get my work out there. Again, guys, I'm living in the UAE. It's not like I had contacts. I didn't know anyone. Like this whole writing thing has been a surrender, right? Because I've said this to Rachel so many times. I don't know what I'm doing, guys. Every single day I
Mm-hmm.
wake up, I pray, and something happens. Like it's insane to me because it's like
Mm-hmm.
I have no control over it. This is the one thing that I'm doing for myself that I have no control over. Every other thing that I have done, I've been like hands on in every single area, every single aspect, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I remember um, I had a book reading that I had to attend, and out of the blue, I was supposed to go home. I said, you know what? Um, I still have a bit more time. Let me just go to a public library. Literally out of the blue. I went there, I got there, I said, hey, I want to be able to speak to someone about getting my books in this library or whatever. Not knowing that the woman I was speaking to wasn't the one making the decision. She was just like a checkout lady. She was like helping people, find books and whatever. She wasn't really responsible for that. She goes, my boss is in the next room in her office. You have to speak to her. As soon as she said that, like, Rachel, my heart dropped. I was like, why am I here? Why am I even doing this? Like, automatically, I realized what I had done, right? It was almost like I pushed too hard where I should have just gone home. Like, I regretted it as soon as I got there. And then she was like, let me call my boss. And then she came out and she was like, yeah, come to my office. Let's have a chat. Shocked. What do I say now that I'm here? What do I do? But what I realize is that was the opportunity that I created for myself in order then for that right person who was there. It was almost like she was waiting for me when I got there, which was insane to me because she said, oh, I'm so glad that you came to find us because we was looking for kidlit authors in order for us to have books. Like everything she was explaining and describing was everything that I had in mind and what I came to see her for. Does that make sense? Which was
Yes,
insane
it
to me.
does.
I was like, what in the, like, it didn't make any sense. And even that freaks me out because that's not my normal space, right? So I created this thing where it's like, okay, I'm going to put myself out there. And I didn't have to do much work after that. I just sat back and the right person was there with the right information, with the right thing, that was more than happy to talk to me, more than happy to take on my books, more than happy to help me out, give me advice. And I remember staying in her office. This is the first time I'm meeting this woman. I stayed in her office for a good 1 hour and a half.
Wow.
And this is our first meeting. And I got not only what I wanted, but more than what I came for, if that makes sense.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
went home thinking, what just happened? I didn't get it. What? What do you mean? And that's happened to me so many different times, where it's like you go with your, I think this is what Rachel really meant about emotions. A lot of it is tied to instinct. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You go with your instincts, whatever is pushing you in that way. Feeling, a certain sense of direction, maybe, yeah,
Mhm,
where you
mhm.
go with that, you lean into that, and then allow everything else to fall into place as opposed to controlling every single detail of the scenario. But that's happened to me countless occasions, yeah.
So see how you describe that you see that as opportunities you created for yourself. I see it
Yeah.
differently. I see it
How
differently.
do you see that?
Um, for me, I see it as you went with a certain feeling or a certain instinct, but the opportunity was already created for you. You simply needed to take a step forward. So, like, say with
Really?
my work situation,
Hmm.
I just started on, yo, I need to get up out of here. Like from that was my only goal, was to get away from that lady.
Really?
And then I just started talking to people. But it's like it was already there. Like I didn't go on a goal. Like I had no idea what it was going to look like. So for me, when you move forward and you that's faith to me, and that's not something that I created. I just took the steps that I was supposed to
I see
take.
it completely different. I
Yeah,
see it
I
completely different
yeah.
because I didn't feel like I had any type of intuition about it. Like
That
it
what
wasn't.
that was
I know when I have
totally
intuition.
intuition. Yo,
Nah, bro. It
you
wasn't.
just said, let me go into this library. That's all you said.
Yeah, because I
That's
wanted
it.
to spend time, waste time. I was
That's
literally
what I'm
wasting
saying.
time.
You did not initiate. All you
Nah,
did was go into the library
yes.
because you went to waste time and look at what was there. You did not create that.
Yes.
That joint was
That
there
was not
for you.
nah, bro. I don't see it like that. I really don't.
Okay. Okay. For me, that is the epitome of sitting back and like be like everything that that lady said. You were in that lady's office for an hour and a half. You couldn't
Yeah.
create that if you tried.
I literally do not see it like that. I literally was just like, you know what? Nah, because there was no feeling, no gut feeling. There was nothing like, hey,
It ain't
nah, bro.
gotta
I
be a
was literally,
feeling. Like you were in
I
that
was like, nah.
place. You did not create that. That happened for you.
Do you know why I say that? No, I say
Okay.
it's completely different because this happened to me as well when I went to book readings, right? I
Uh-huh.
remember, again, not having any type of contact, whatever, I would randomly call schools and be like, hey, can I come? Can I book read? Can I do whatever? I'm not a famous author. I don't know half of the things that I'm doing, but let me come to your school. It's free. And I will go. And I really believe that's the opportunity, that's the creation of
That's
whatever it is.
different. I
And then
think
from
that's different.
and
That's
no,
different.
I think that's
That's
exactly the
different.
same.
You
It's exactly
called
the
with
same.
a goal in mind and you asked for
Yeah.
what you wanted, as opposed to you
Yeah.
walk in some place to waste time. You literally were
Listen.
like, yo, son, I'ma just chill here. I just want to read a book. And exactly something that you wanted. Exactly. More, actually, it
I don't.
surpassed. You didn't go in
Yeah.
there with this goal.
No, the only thing that I wanted was to have my book in the library. And do you
Right.
know what I got out of that? I got my books in the library. I got to partake in a workshop. I got to do a Kidlit festival. So I ended up, just from meeting this woman, I ended up doing all of these different things because she hooked me up with other people and she, put me in a place where it's like I had the opportunity to do that. That's
This
what I mean
lady
about
was
everything
waiting
surpassing.
for you. This lady was
Bruh,
waiting for you.
you're scaring me, man.
This lady was
That's
waiting
so
for you.
scary.
I look at our relationship the same way. I couldn't imagine a
What?
relationship that would, like, in my wildest of dreams of connecting with somebody. Yes, we took steps, we spoke to each other,
You crack me up. Yeah.
but the way in which our relationship took, like, we took, we stepped forward maybe
Yeah.
10%. 90% was God's
Yeah.
work. That's how I look at this as.
You really think so?
Heck
Oh my gosh,
yes,
this is
because
hilarious.
in my
This is
deepest
hilarious.
of imaginings, I could not have made up that I would have met somebody on Instagram. Not only would we hit it off, we talk about deep things. We have had
Yeah.
video calls. Our relationship has
Yeah.
built to the point where we on a podcast, yo. No,
Bruh.
like no, no. This is not something that I could have dreamed. My dream would have been, yeah, I want to connect with people, right? I want friends.
Yeah.
That's vague.
Yeah.
That's so damn vague. But to have a friend who's like a sister, who's in the UAE, who I'm doing a podcast. No, come on, son.
Yeah.
No,
That's
no.
insane.
I stepped
That's
forward
literally insane.
about 3.5%. The rest of the math, whatever the heck the rest of the math is, 97 point whatever,
Oh my
was
gosh,
God.
that's so hilarious. That's hilarious to me.
But we had, for me, I had no expectations. And those are to me, that's the most beautiful thing. When you have a dream.
Do you think that's the key?
Yes, have a dream. Because your dream in your heart is placed by God. That is my belief. If you have a dream,
wow,
it's supposed to, it is supposed to happen. But how you want it, when you want it, that stuff, I will call it none of your business. You just keep stepping
Can I ask you
forward.
something?
Yeah, go ahead. Please do, Grace.
Do you think that you cannot have a dream, but God can have a dream for you? Like you want something and God's like, no, I want something else for you. Do you think that's also something?
Give me an example. I find this a titillating subject, titillating question.
Oh my gosh, I can't do it.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Let's say my dream is I want to be an entrepreneur, right?
Vague.
That's my plans.
Okay.
No, I want to do my own business. That's not vague. Entrepreneur. I want to do my own business. It can be in fitness. It can be in freaking
so you don't care what kind of
housing
business?
market. This is just a scenario, Rachel.
So sorry, Rachel. Oh Jesus. I asked for an example.
She's so
and
invested.
I am dissecting. Oh Jesus. Go ahead, Grace.
She's
I'll let God deal with
it. In life. What are you doing for a living? Give me some specific.
How much do you get paid an hour? How much? Oh, with your little example. I'm so sorry, Grace. Lord have mercy.
You crack me up.
Oh my gosh. Of God.
Okay, let's just say, for argument's sake. Okay, argument's sake.
I don't argue
you want to own homes and sell homes, whatever. You want to sell homes, let's say.
I'm ashamed of myself.
And then God's like to you, no, I want you to be a doctor. And you're like, no, but I'm really, let's say, I'm really good at this, you know, but you also know that you have the capacity to do what he's telling you, but your heart isn't there. But he keeps on saying, no, that's not for you. This is what's for you. Do you think that's possible?
Yes, I do. Absolutely.
And how do we
reconcile
it? How do yeah.
Let me see. Do I feel, because I always come from things from my own experience so that I could be as honest as possible.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe something like this is a good example. Like growing up, I used to want to be a judge, a lawyer.
I know I make a great judge.
Exactly. And I was like,
a great judge.
I was like, you know what? I want to do this. You know, I didn't really know how to pursue it or anything like that, but I felt like I had the criteria, good criteria, to be able to do that. Yeah. Yes, the skill set. Yes.
Yeah.
But what was placed in my heart, and this came about in a most difficult way, is because of the pain that I experienced, you know, growing up in my childhood that I continually go back to because it's something that I'm working on. I then felt
Mhm,
drawn, like I wanted to write a book about my life since I was like 12
mhm,
years old. Like that was placed in me. And as I started growing up or getting older, my ability to be wise, like I'm not trying to pat myself on the
mhm,
back, but I think I have a
mhm,
good way of looking at something balanced in a balanced
mhm,
fashion, like having
mhm,
good judging skills. So I
mhm,
think that has been utilized in the work that I'm doing now when it comes to
mhm,
getting through my own traumas, hearing other people's difficulties, and being able to help them from where they are. So, my skill set, not that I became a judge, but my skill set of wisdom and being able to look at situations in a balanced view was is
mhm,
being utilized in this area that I never really would have it was not my dream, like say growing up I'm
mhm,
going to work with people who have trauma, or I'm going to learn through
mhm,
my trauma and help other people.
mhm.
That's not my dream. That was not per se my dream. Like for me that's like
Did you have passion for it? That's another thing as well. What about if you
um
don't have the passion for it? Like you have something
passion.
else. Let's say, like you're good at something, but you don't have burning passion for it. I spoke to a woman,
I
sorry to
don't
cut
think
you off,
God would
Rachel. I'm
do
just
that
gonna,
to you. Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know,
I don't
because
think God would
look,
do
I
that to
spoke to a
you where you don't
woman,
have a burning passion for it. Nah,
I don't know.
I don't think
I,
so.
unless you're hearing wrong, I spoke to this woman, she basically was saying how all her life she wanted to be a ballerina and she wanted to dance and she became
Mm-hmm.
a dancer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she was doing working with the ballet academy, Royal Albert Hall, all of that stuff. Like people who are listening, you can be able to Google that. A lot of that stuff is in Europe and stuff. But and also she's from the States, and also in the States she did a lot of dancing. Something happened and she had to stop dancing,
Mm-hmm.
right? And her whole life took a U-turn, and now she works as a dance teacher and
I was gonna
works
say, is she
as,
now a dance
yeah,
teacher? Yeah.
yeah, dance teacher and drama,
Yeah.
right? And I was like, oh, so you enjoy it? She goes, I like it, but my first love will always be dance, as in her doing it, right?
Right.
As opposed to teaching others.
Mhm.
So the passion that she has for dance, obviously she's still connected to dance some kind of way because
Mhm.
that's her love. But the passion that she has for herself, for her being on stage, isn't matched with her teaching others how to act and how to dance, right?
Mhm.
She's like, okay, it's a good job, essentially, right? I'm working, it's a good job, pays the bills, yada yada yada.
Is
But
she on
my first love
pays
will
the
always be,
bills? Is she's that
what do you
dispassionate
mean?
about teaching where it's like it's just about paying the bills?
It's no, she like it's not just about paying the bills because her husband's like loaded or whatever, right? She's doing all this stuff. I think it's more to do with health as opposed to why she can't dance, right?
Right.
Let's just say in this instance. So if she could, and all of this happened at the height of her career,
Mhm.
yeah.
Mhm.
So that's what I'm trying to say. There's a lot of things that you can marry the two, which is exactly what you were saying, right? But
Mhm.
what about if you don't have the passion for it, but you was
But
doing it in
to me that doesn't sound like she doesn't have a passion about it. I think when you're married to what you were supposed to be doing, what it was supposed to look like, how you like if you're
yeah.
not over the initial what you wanted, to me it sounds like
Hmm.
she's stuck in a purgatory of sorts where it's like she this dream she felt was snatched away from her, and she hasn't been able to
Hmm.
reconcile not doing it because she
Hmm.
envisioned it differently. So what
Hmm.
I see essentially is a she
Hmm.
is stuck at this is what I wanted, which is not a judgment. It's completely
Yeah.
understandable, but if that's not reconciled within herself, she will always be comparing the dancing to the teaching. And to me, that's what she's doing. She's
So you
comparing it.
think that if so you think that if your plans of what you wanted isn't the same with what God wants for you, God's going to give you the passion for it. That's what you truly believe.
I think the passion is there, but the being stuck in what you wanted it to look like is the only thing that's in the way, but you can't see it. Man, I can't wait for you to
I don't
see
know.
Soul.
I
Yes,
don't know, man.
for me, I'm like, you can't be like, you love dancing. And yes, you wanted to do it for yourself. And now you're stuck. You're stuck. And she feels stuck at teaching. So it has nothing to do with the teaching. It is, she got interrupted in her process, and it is hard for, she has not healed from that.
I don't know about like having that passion. I feel like a lot of the times, like we do things that we're good at, and a lot of the times that's
She's
enough for a lot
not
of
just
people. Or the
good
things
at
that,
it.
no, I'm talking about in general though.
Oh, I
That's what
think
I'm
that's
saying. It's
different. That's different though.
like
Like, mhm.
you have a skill set, but you still don't have the passion for it, but you still do it. Like, how many like celebrities have you even heard? Like, hey, you know, if I wasn't an actor, I would have been doing something else, but I'm really good at it, and obviously it pays a lot of money.
I think
True,
those are
I'm good
two
at it.
different
But doesn't
examples.
mean.
I think this is different than the teacher, the dancer to the teacher.
Okay, so in this instance, how would you explain that then?
In this instinct, she got interrupted in what she thought she wanted to do, and she's
No,
mad
I'm
at that.
saying the
Oh,
one that I've just. No, I'm
um,
saying the other example. Yeah.
doing something that you're not passionate about because you have a good skill set at it. That's like,
Yeah.
it's, to me, that's different, where you're not examining what it is that you truly desire. That's not a dream that God put in your heart, or you have in your, that ain't a dream at all.
Mm-hmm.
That's just, I'm doing something
Mm-hmm.
that's practical. That's not a dream. I'm
So
good
why
at
then have
so
the talents
many
for it?
things.
Why
I'm
then?
good at so many things, but like, I
Yeah,
know what my
everybody's
passion
good
is.
at stuff. Yeah,
But I know why I've chosen
that's
other
crazy.
jobs that I was just good at, because it was safe,
Mm-hmm.
because I would get the
Mm-hmm.
money,
Mm-hmm.
because it would pay the
Mm-hmm.
bills. But those were not dreams. It was
Mm-hmm.
those, none of those were my dreams.
Yeah,
My dreams scare the crap out
I
of
find
me.
that unfair.
And my dreams are like, how am I gonna make this happen? Those are how my dreams look.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I
Mm.
really want to do this,
That's
something
so
that's in my
interesting.
heart that nags me, that if I don't want to die without doing. Those are my dreams.
I don't know if I have that. Like, oh,
Really?
I don't want to die and without doing it. Like,
Oh
I don't think I have that.
wow.
Yeah,
I
I really.
so like, for me, when I was younger, I always wanted to write this book. I wanted to write this book. And I didn't
Yeah,
feel like I don't want to die. Like, at this point though, I'm like, oh no, I must. It's so powerful in my heart,
yeah,
so powerful,
yeah,
that I know
yeah,
before I lay to rest out of this world,
yeah,
that must
yeah,
be done, because it's been in my
yeah.
heart for so long. I know this thing is going to happen, but it came about
Hmm.
so differently than I would have ever thought. Like,
Yeah,
I really had to encourage myself along the way, because I'm like, I didn't
yeah.
write the book yet. Oh my God, I've been wanting to do this since I was 12. This must
That's
happen.
crazy. Wow, that's so
Must.
crazy. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I have that where I feel like, oh
Really?
my gosh, I need to do this before I die. Before I die. I don't think so.
Yes, this
I
this
think
must
it's
be
something to
completed
do.
for me before I die. And I know it will be. It's not
Mm,
a pressure, like, oh my, no, I know it will be. That's how powerful. It's
mm,
like, this thing's gonna happen. I know it.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Hmm.
Not for me.
Okay.
Mm,
Okay. But yeah, I
mm.
do believe, like, when you have a dream in your heart, I think it's placed by God. And I do think there's a
Yeah,
difference between that and just doing what you're good at. Because doing what you're good at doesn't
but
really take
but what about if you
examination.
don't have one? But what about
Oh,
if you don't have one?
you have one. And you have
What
one.
about, I literally had this conversation with my sister,
Uh-huh.
and literally I think she has the same kind of feeling. She's like, what about if you don't have a dream?
You
I
have
feel like Martin Luther
one.
King.
Yeah.
Man had a dream. Dream.
Ah,
Sorry, I was about to wrap there.
So
Well,
for
we don't have one.
let me tell you, honey child, because I went through this process myself. And what I enjoy about where I've come from is I was a late bloomer in everything. So I didn't like it at the time, and I don't particularly love it, but I feel like coming from a late bloomer or like an underdog position, you're able to experience like negative things that a lot of people go through. And for me, I'm willing to be transparent about it. So, having
Mm-hmm.
come from a background where you're not really encouraged, to
Mm-hmm.
do something that you're passionate about, or, you know,
Mm-hmm.
in a Caribbean family and in a family in which I was mistreated, I wasn't nurtured, so
Mm-hmm.
being able to do the piano lessons, the dance lessons, the all of that, I might sound
Mm-hmm.
like I'm hating. I'm not. But the all of those activities as a child, you get to take advantage of to find out what you're good at. I was not afforded those things. So as I got into the work world, it really
Mm-hmm.
quickly became about my survival, taking care of myself.
Mm-hmm.
And there was
Mm-hmm.
no time to look at having a dream. My dream is to eat. My dream is to pay my bills. Those were my
I
dreams. You know what I'm saying?
totally get that. Yeah.
So I did not get the opportunity of looking at my dreams. So I came from a place where your sister, she's in her 20s. She was like, what if you don't have one? In my 30s, I was like, what if you don't have one?
But I
In my
totally
30s.
get what she's saying.
Yeah.
But what if you
So
don't, though?
the thing is, if you have to understand, right? So you have a flower that you are trying to grow, right? You have to cultivate it. You plant the seed, you water it, you give it food, you give it sunlight. This hasn't been grown or cultivated in our lives. So there is
Yeah.
no precedence to look at what it means to have a dream. You're not thinking in
Mm-hmm.
that way. Your dream is your
Mm-hmm.
survival. So I challenge, or I submit to
Mm-hmm.
looking at different aspects of life and different aspects
Mm-hmm.
of things you'd like to do in the
Mm-hmm.
way of a dream. What
Mm-hmm.
what do you really like? And this is hard stuff when you have disconnected. Like for me, I was completely disconnected from this until I was like
Mm-hmm.
33, 35.
Mm-hmm.
This is when I'm
Mm-hmm.
recognizing my dream. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling at a loss. I was feeling at a loss. Like, what if you don't have a dream? It's gonna feel like that if you
Mm-hmm.
were never taught to connect to that.
Mm-hmm.
And it took a long
Mm-hmm.
time. I was really I was dismayed and discouraged and felt like this didn't exist for me. So that's why I can say
Mm-hmm.
with certainty, everybody has it. But if we haven't been taught to look at it in that way, then no. And
But
you talk
doesn't
about
that
what if you don't
then
have one?
have?
You a whole writer. You a writer.
Yeah,
You
but
do
like I
Kidlit.
see that practically. I see that practically.
You
I
don't feel
see that like,
passionate
oh my
about
gosh,
it.
this is a dream. It's not about passion. It's about like we were saying, like, hey, I want to be able to write children's books, and um, this is the thing. Everyone who's listening, writing isn't easy, guys. I know it seems freaking easy on the outside. It's not. Writing is hard,
Hard as
but
hell.
it's something that I know I'm good at. Real.
Mm.
It's something that
Mm.
I know that I'm good at, and and this is the crazy thing, right? Again, I think in what you're saying of recognizing what is it that you need to do, it wasn't my first choice. Do you know what I mean? It
Mm.
wasn't something that I naturally was like, okay, I'm going to be a writer or whatever. It
Mm.
took a lot of prayer, a lot of fasting, a lot of listening to what God has to say and waiting for me to have the green light and the okay to be like, this is what you need to do. right?
Mm.
Because if I had my own way, I would have been doing other things that, yeah, you're probably good at, but it wasn't, like you said, it was more of a survival, serving, serving no purpose but to pay my bills. Like we were saying before in previous episodes about quitting my job on the spot, going, I quit, see ya, suckers, I'm out,
Mhm.
right? I
Mhm.
could do that because it wasn't my passion, right? I could do that because it was just jobs, like you were saying before, right?
Mhm.
Um, but with this, and this is what I was saying to you before about sometimes God needs to block everything in order for you to be on the right path for
Mhm.
what He wants you to do.
Mm.
Um, so it was more of me having everything around me taken away, or me quitting and thinking that it was my choice when I really think that was God's choice, really.
Mhm.
Um, and putting me on this path to be able to do it. Because I remember in the UK, I used to say, oh, yeah, I love to write books, but it was so flippant. It was literally so flippant. Like, yeah, I would like to write books, or I would like to do this one day. And I still had my normal 9 to 5, living my life, making my money and doing whatever. And I really believe if I didn't have this time right now, I would never have started writing, because I would have always put my job first. Does that make sense?
It does, but like you said, you don't have passion about the writing.
I didn't say passion. I said it was more to do with like,
You're good at it.
I'm good at it. Yeah. I enjoy the fruits of what I produce. Absolutely. And the process, but I don't think I have that fire. I don't think I have that thing where it's like, oh my gosh, if I die today and I don't write something and to leave, like I'm gonna feel a certain way. Maybe that's what it is. Like I don't have that fire.
So maybe to
I
me
ha-
that sounds like you need further examination. Like you have done something that was to you like when you were in London. It was like a, how do you call it? Like a, what do they call those dreams? Something dream, like where it's like you don't ever think it's really going to happen, but you actually have done
yeah,
it. So I
yeah,
think maybe that's a first step to seeing, I could do something where I didn't really think it was possible, but I did
yeah,
do it. So I would
yeah.
examine more things that you feel like that about, and what you're, and see if there is a spark there with it. Because I feel like this was a first step to doing something you were like thinking wasn't possible or
I
wasn't
don't, do you know why I
practical.
think that's not the case? I don't think
Hmm.
that's the case. Do you know why?
Hmm.
Because everything else that I've tried to do hasn't been like this. And again, it steps back to every door being closed and this being the gateway. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but you're
As
also
if,
doing a
like, you
podcast
remember
now.
how, yeah, but that's different. That's different. Like, I'm talking about this is a collaboration. I
Mm-hmm.
really believe like this is a collaborative effort. I'm talking about
Mm-hmm.
myself
Mm.
alone. Do you know
Mhm.
what I mean?
Mhm.
And I think it's more to do with um remember how I said to you earlier on in this episode, everything else that I ever had to do, I've done it with my own effort, with my own, strength, with my own accord.
Mhm.
This is the only thing that I've been doing that I do that has taken surrender. But this is the one thing that I like, I don't even know how I do half of the things that I do, right? But it's like, this is the first time in my life where it's almost like there is someone, i.e., God, walking ahead of me, right? Leading me in every single thing that I'm doing. Like I
Mhm.
really, and I've never felt like that about anything else because
Mhm.
it's never happened like that, right? Where it's literally like, and I remember when I first started, right? And I was doubting myself so much, like, oh my gosh, I can't be doing this. This is ridiculous. This is crazy. Every time I would be like, I'm quitting. I don't want to do this. Out of the blue, is like, out of the blue, something will happen where it's like, no, you need to continue because either an opportunity has come or someone has basically tried to get in contact with you for something, or you've been invited to do something or an event or whatever. Like something would always keep you in to say, no, 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 you're in the right place. You're doing the right thing. And I believe that now. I've got to a place where I believe that now. My whole thing is that fire. Like, yeah, you are happy doing what you're doing, but do you need that burning fire?
I think this is a beginning step for you to find that fire. That's how I look at it. Because clearly
That's
you're
crazy.
destined to do this because God put you in that position, like you are being led.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
this is an opening door. So that's why I said, see, you're doing a podcast. So even
Yeah.
though like the writing, and this is a collaborative effort, yes, but you got that out of like your kidlit, as crazy as that
Mm-hmm.
sounds. You posted it online.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we met.
Mm-hmm.
So different
Mm-hmm.
avenues are opening from this
Mm-hmm.
kidlit thing. So that's what I think is going to happen. I ain't God, obviously, but like
Mm-hmm.
eventually you're gonna hit something along this path that you're supposed to follow because God is showing you, hey, Grace, I want you to stay on this path. You're going to veer into something, in my opinion, that's going to be like, the fire. But this is the path to it. That's what I think.
We'll
Because
see.
again,
We'll
stuff
see.
doesn't. I've come to understand that yes, I have something that I finally, yes, that I
Mm-hmm.
want to do, but the ways in which it has come about, nothing I could have
Mm-hmm.
imagined. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just opening one route. It is, I'm connecting with people. I am gaining good friends. I am doing my writing. Everything is leading up to multiple things. This is a tree and it's got mad branches.
That's so funny because that's what's happening to me in terms of my writing.
Of course.
Meeting more people, connecting with more people. And this is what I'm trying to say to you though, Rachel. It's like, yes, we're doing a podcast, but literally when it comes to writing, like I don't think that will ever not be. And again, don't get me wrong, it's like I don't enjoy it. That's
Mhm.
not what I'm saying. I'm not saying I don't enjoy writing. I'm not saying like, oh, I don't enjoy what I'm doing. No. It's just like, do you need that fire? Or maybe I'm misinterpreting it. Maybe it's not about having that fire or whatever, but it's about purpose. Because I think what I want to touch upon is like a lot of the
Mm.
times society says, no, we all say it, find your passion, find your passion, find your passion, find your
Mhm.
passion. And
Mhm.
if you feel like you don't have a passion, automatically you feel like you're wasting your time, right?
Mm.
Find your passion, find your passion. That is so vague, right? And it
Mm.
doesn't mean anything.
Yes.
So maybe what I'm
Preach
getting
on,
in my
sister.
heart right now as we're
Mhm.
talking is
Mhm.
maybe that's what the deception is for me,
Mm.
is society's way of explaining
Yeah.
find your passion, where you have your passion, but because it doesn't feel the way it's been described,
Right.
you're starting to doubt that, oh, is this really my passion? Because it's supposed to be, fireworks and smoking mirrors and all of this crazy stuff that you're
Right.
supposed to see and feel,
Right.
when really that's not it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm questioning in this moment in time.
So then when I
Does that make
say
sense?
that I'm going, yeah, it does make sense. So I would like your perspective of when I say I'm going to die, like I need, this book is getting written. Like I know that. Does that sound
Yeah.
like fire? Like what does,
Yeah, like comparing it to death, like that's pretty big, Rachel.
but to
Like,
me, that is the
like
epitome of purpose. Like for me, like it's an ache. It is not for me, it's not, it doesn't feel like a fire. It's like I am
for you, it's an
made.
ache.
It's an ache. I have to do it. It is
I
not
think,
something that I desire to do. It's not something that, oh,
okay, so
I
is that duty?
need to do it. It's not duty.
So is that duty?
It's
It's
not
not
duty.
duty. It's not, it's
It's
okay. So what is it then? It's not desire, it's not duty. What is it?
I am made to do, like I all that I have
So
been
it's
through
destiny. So it's destiny.
is yes.
It's
This,
destiny.
and I'm not even, it's like I'm not even going, I'm not even in the thought process that I'm gonna die without doing it. It is going to happen.
Okay.
I know it is
Okay.
going to happen.
So that answers my question then. It's, if you're saying it's not desire, that's what I meant when I meant passion. Like, oh my gosh, that desire. If you're saying it's not desire, that means we're on the same page. Because
Yeah,
you don't
because
have that
remember I
desire
was
either. For
describing
you,
to
it's like
you,
it's destiny.
yeah, because remember I was saying to you
Yeah.
about what I would have preferred to have been doing. Like I
Yeah.
thought I'd be a good judge. I thought I'd be a good lawyer.
Yeah,
And
but you were
my
super young.
preference,
That's what I
but
mean.
Yeah, but my preference would
It's not
not
like
have
adult.
been to do something based on my pain. That is not something where it's
Mm,
like, oh, I want to grow up and help people with their trauma, or
mhm,
where that's not
mhm.
like, I never looked at that as that is something I want to do. But as my life
Yeah,
developed, I'm like, this is something that mm, I am shaped to do this. Like, I'm not going to
okay.
say no one is
Mm,
better produced to do, but I was molded to do this thing that I was not, it wasn't a
okay,
dream for me, but I have to do it.
okay. Okay, now I feel like we're in the same page because, and I think probably it was our wires crossed because with you saying, okay, I didn't choose it, and it's almost like it was chosen for you, right? It was
Yes,
designed for you,
I would
to do.
not
That's
choose
what
to
I was
talk
saying
about
to
my
you.
life in front, like doing poetry about and being vulnerable. And that's not something I wanted to do.
But this is what I'm saying. So this is exactly the same thing where I was saying, where it's like this wasn't my first choice, right? And me then being a writer, remember I said to you again, it was more of God saying, this is what you need to do. Yeah, I can do it, but it still wasn't my first choice, right? And in terms of purpose, I've seen, I feel like all of us are influential in different areas of our lives.
Yes,
I really do believe
absolutely.
my influence comes with the young people,
Mm,
right?
mhm,
And I never knew that. And I only discovered that in the last 3 years
mm.
by teaching in ministry, by visiting schools, speaking to kids, all of these different things. I didn't know that was something that I could do because I just thought, oh, kids like me. I thought that was it. Kids like me. I like to have a good time. I laugh a lot. That's it. And I'm a giant midget. So most of them think I'm a kid too, right? But it was one of those things where I really, everything, I think we had this discussion before, everything merging together of children's ministry, writing Kidlit, children events in school, publishing books, all of that happening simultaneously all at once, right? And again, like you were saying earlier, something's just being cultivated for you to do it, even though it wasn't your choice. So, what I'm saying in this moment is that's exactly the same as what you're saying. But for me, I just don't have that feeling of that ache. Yeah. I think
Um,
more so maybe because I'm digging my heels in the ground. I don't know the reason why, but I
mhm,
don't have that ache. I think it's more just trying to figure out, like, oh my gosh, let me do this and learn how to surrender as I'm doing it because I have no control over it. Like you said, this is going to happen whether I want to or not, because everything I try to do isn't happening. And every
mhm,
time I try to back away and try and do something else, it's like, nah, bro, this is where you need to be. This is what's
mm.
going to happen, right? Every time I'm trying to quit, someone's going to call me, hey, Grace, you all right? Yeah, we want to come to school and do this. And I'm like, ah. And then I get dressed and then I go. Not because I don't want to do it, but because it's sometimes I think it's almost like, are you, are you going to, are you equipped to do it? Like, you know, you're talented or you
Right,
know that you've
right,
got the gifts, but are you fully equipped to do it?
right.
Is it going to happen? You're doubting that kind of thing. But even when you're doubting, things are constantly happening. I
Yeah.
think it's more to do just accepting it for what it is as opposed to finding passion. Does
My,
that
I
make
th-
sense?
it does. I think
Because I think I rambled.
your no, you did not ramble. I think for you, the struggle, I think our struggles are different in that we still struggle,
Yeah,
but your
yeah,
struggle is out of doubt that, yeah, I don't know if
yeah,
I'm supposed to be doing this. Where for me, my struggle is
yeah,
I do want to do this. I don't want to be vulnerable.
yes,
I don't want people to know
yes.
about me. So that's where my
Nail on the head.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah. For me,
You
I'm
hit the
like,
nail on the
God,
head.
please, I don't want people to know this. I want to be private. I don't and it's been put in me so deeply where it's like, yo, son, you doing it, you doing it, you doing it. I don't care. I don't care. So that's where it's like, it has nagged me for so long that I know I
Yeah,
must, because I have procrastinated on it for so long.
yeah.
Where you're like, you're doing it, you're like, maybe like you would rather
But
be
this
doing
is the
something
thing.
else, or yeah, it's a different type of
Yeah.
struggle. in that, but it's still a
You
story.
literally hit the nail on the head where
Yeah.
you're like, God's like, you're doing it, you're doing it, you're doing it.
Yeah.
Because with you, he's causing that ache in order for you to do it. But with
Yes.
me, blocking everything and guiding me for me to do it, even though I'm like, I don't
I
know.
feel
Do you know
like
what I mean?
crying right now. Yes.
But it's like, I feel like that's exactly what's happening, because for me, it's like, I don't know. He's like, you're doing it because there's nothing else I'm going to allow you to do unless you walk behind me and follow me everywhere I go. And I'm freaking out going, I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know, whatever. And with you, it's like, I don't want to do it, period. And he's like, nah, you're going to do it. And I'm going to bring that burn within you in order you to feel like this has to be done until it's fully accomplished. Right? So it's the same thing, just in different ways, based on
he
our
knows how to
personalities.
do it in order to motivate.
Yeah.
Because my ways have been blocked in certain areas, but it's really oh my God. Yeah. So yes, I have to do this thing.
Oh, so we reached a conclusion, which is brilliant. Because I was like, what are you coming from? Jesus. You finally cracked the code.
Man.
Gosh, I love talking to you, man.
Same here, yo. Same.
We unpeeled the onion. We peeled the onion.
Yeah. So manifestation. And well, we went into purpose and all of that too, which is connected. But ultimately, manifestation of a purpose, so to speak, I view as something that you have, like it, that you've always had around you, that you're not only good at, but I'm not going to say passionate, because we had that whole conversation about passion.
We've had that journey.
The journey the journey. It is something that I guess all other avenues are blocked, where you have the distinct feeling that you're not that you're being bullied, but you're constantly being guided and directed to,
I call it bullying, spiritual bullying. That's what I call it.
to complete to do something, complete an accomplishment or whatever. And it is both. It takes effort, but is also in flow. I guess I don't know if that was a good summary.
You do have to do the work, but everything comes together to propel you to where you need to be.
Correct. That's a great word. That propelling is a great sign that, hey, this is a thing that you're supposed to be doing, and you're in the exact right direction that you're supposed to be in, basically. So
e.g.
manifestation is not your own. Manifestation is not on your own accordance, your own will. It doesn't look totally like how you think it's supposed to look. That's it. I don't got nothing more than that. You know what I'm saying?
I think we've covered it all.
Yeah.
We've covered it all.
Well, it was lovely unraveling. I feel like we were all over the place. I know I got
we needed
out
to
of
talk
it.
all this stuff up. I got a lot out of it. I needed that.
I have been, as Grace says, I have been Rachel, and I still am Rachel.
Yes, you have.
And I can be found. I can be found at The Sassy Rachel on Instagram, and you can find us on Soul Speak Podcast. Why do I stumble over this, Jesus? Soul Speak _podcast on Instagram. Please interact, like, follow. It was fun. On to you, Grace.
Yes, you can find me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is @the_reading_hideout. And you can be able to find my work there, all of the kidlit that I do, as well as following me on Twitter. My handle is @Grace_Grena. You can be able to find me there, as I am very ridiculous with everything that I tweet. So it'll be a great laugh.
Thank you so much, Grace. It was a pleasure. It was wonderful sharing with everyone, and see y'all next time. Bye.
Bye.